That cleanup is well underway after last week's tornado in the Ottawa-Gatineau region, but so much has been ruined, so many problems laid bare. That includes a situation officials realized in the early aftermath of the storm, the inability to communicate both with their staff and the public. Evan Dyer explains why that happened and what it could mean.
The tornadoes tore a swath of destruction through the nation's capital, wrecking homes and uprooting trees. When it was over, the city's cell towers were still standing. But as the hours ticked by, people began to notice a strange phenomenon, including the city's manager.
My cell phone on Friday night was not working. I couldn't get a signal. I had to leave my house and drive into town till I found a couple bars so I could communicate with our emergency operations center. I was sitting in my car in my pajamas. And truth, I swear to God.
The tornadoes brought massive power cuts, and as the power cuts dragged on, cell towers around the city saw their signals weaken and then wink out.
It's not a surprise because our cell phones connect to the cellular towers, and cellular towers, they are powered by the grid, power grid. So if there's an outage of the power grid, then there will definitely be some problem with the cellular communications. So most of the time, they have backup batteries. But those backup batteries will only last for a short time.
The problem's made worse by the fact that after a natural disaster, cell phone use typically goes up as people call 911 and check on friends and family, and that draws down the batteries even faster.
They have thought about this, definitely. This is a big problem in the industry, and that's why they have backup batteries, and that's why they also sometimes have even diesel engines there. But again, if you have this kind of extreme weather, as a tornado, then you would have big trouble.
Before the switch to wireless, the system wasn't this vulnerable.
The previous phone system, copper one, the phone companies tended to be able to keep them running 2-3 days without running out of generator power. So that's sort of a baseline standard I think we should try to get back to. The network, I guess I'll call it resilience, hasn't been regulated for some time. So the last quality of service, if you'll call it, regulations were retired in 2008 and 2009 in the name of, you know, the open market and this sort of thing would look after itself. But the trouble is the free market doesn't tend to spend money on emergency preparedness.
With climate change bringing ever stronger storms and cell phone networks requiring ever more electricity, many experts say it's time to think about getting more backup power to keep the networks people depend on up and running. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.